With a series of events throughout 2009, New York will celebrate its 400th anniversary. Chaired by preservationist, social activist, and resident of New York City and the Hudson Valley, Joan K. Davidson, the Hudson-Fulton-Champlain Quadricentennial Commission will celebrate the long history and enormous potential of New York's premier waterways. ccSCOOP spoke to Miss Davidson at her home overlooking the Hudson River to discover her goals for the Quadricentennial and details on her planned voyage to the Netherlands to participate in the Dutch celebration.
I think we want to think back and appreciate the long history, the 400 years. We want to assess where New York is and appreciate our natural and man-made wonders of our glorious state. And I think we very much want to look forward to the future and build, prepare so that when the quad year is over, there'll be something to show for it. Well, it was invented by Commissioner Pete Granis, who was then in the legislature. And he set it up. He created this commission with the idea that they would have 7 years to prepare and to plan and to get things organized for 2009. And somehow there was a change of governors and things happened and people were appointed, but somehow nothing much happened and they didn't somehow manage to get started. And so all of a sudden it was 2008. And then the new crowd was elected. Granis became commissioner, Carol Ash became commissioner of parks, Judith Enck was in the governor's office, and those three and other people became very excited about the possibility, and they thought they could pull something off even at the last minute. So they kind of wanted to stir up the commission again and get going. So I was then appointed. Actually not. The governor's office really got some things going, and that's how Tara and other people got into the act, Tara Sullivan. And then I was appointed, and we set up a headquarters in New York City because at that point, New York, the city hadn't been involved at all. There were some things getting going up here in the valley, but so then we got to work, and then there's a wonderful group of volunteers in New York City who have pitched in. And almost all the projects have been done by volunteers. And it's just wonderful how generous people are. And a great many events having to do with history will be happening all over. Wonderful exhibitions on New Amsterdam, in various museums, much about the literature, about the painting, about the industrial development. And their conference, there are films, there are exhibitions, performances up and down the valley. And things are still in formation, so people will have to watch the website to get the latest info. A lot of the historic site people up and down the valley are creating something called Heritage Weekend, which is going to be wonderful. All these heritage sites and parks and historic places will be open, free, or almost free. There's a lot of boat stuff going on. There's the River Day you know about, and then there's something called Working on Water, which will come later in the summer, and that's kind of a lot of working boats, steamboats and tugboats and so on will be coming down the river. In New York City, they're going to plant 400 new cherry trees along the river. There's going to be a big fishing derby for kids with free fishing poles and lots of stuff. It's turning out, though we started late and we have no money, it's really going to be a spectacular event. I'm convinced. Everybody will get into it. We were invited, quite out of the blue actually. We have been working very closely with the Dutch. They're doing some wonderful projects. For one thing, they're doing, actually we suggested it and they liked it and they're doing it. We suggested that they restore the original Dutch names to the streets in downtown New York for the quad. And they have given New York City the gift of a pavilion designed by one of their best architects. and that will be in Battery Park City. That's very beautiful. And lots of other projects. So we have been working very closely with them. And then they are celebrating the very same Quadricentennial in Amsterdam. Their great garden, the Keukenhof, with all the millions of tulips, I believe they are outlining the Statue of Liberty in tulips. That will be a noble sight. And so they have invited Congressman Hinchey and Marty Markowitz, who's the borough president of Brooklyn, and they have invited me representing the Quadricentennial. Well, there are, of course, dinners. There is a walk through the Keukenhof with the Queen Beatrice. There's a presentation at that point by Congressman Hinchey of, well, I guess he makes a speech there. Then the next day there's striking of a commemorative coin. That's my job. And more formalities. Then there are trips on a boat. Not quite sure where we go. There's a trip to the Anne Frank House. There are visits to the great museums. And I hope lots of time just to walk around the city, which is what I want to do. And then at the end of the quad year, we are planning a serious conference dealing with key issues in the valley that will really lay out a plan of action for what needs to be done for the next 100 years to protect and enhance the Hudson Valley.